Hey everybody, I am back from Europe. We took a 1 week trip, me and my hubby. We had an amazing time, but I was not able to post all the batched content that is really important right now to post because everybody's quitting carnivore, which is a revolution that I believe I may have ignited. A few months ago, I started creating content on how I'm quitting carnivore and how I'm finding insane results, not just with myself, but also with my clients by reintroducing carbohydrates. A few weeks after that, a couple of very well-known long-term carnivores also announced that they were quitting. And then at that point, the topic of quitting carnivore and reintroducing carbohydrates took a life of its own. Every carnivore channel and its mother was creating content on that, and it definitely ruffled some feathers, understandably so. This is a major change, and change is never comfortable, right? Growth is never comfortable. And so I think it's really important that I create all this content so that you would truly understand how it would work. It's not about I quit carnivore and now I'm eating pizzas and cakes every single day. Drug foods are still drug foods, right? And so if you've struggled with addiction in the past or a low baseline dopamine, we really want to be careful around that topic. I know there's a lot of confusion about so many major points that carnivore was helping with, and now we're adding carbohydrates, and how can the reversal of autoimmune disease, the healing of leaky gut still happen? How can reversing insulin resistance still happen if we're reintroducing carbs? So don't worry, I have YouTube videos on every single one of these topics, so just hang in there as I post them one by one. But let's talk today about the low-fat, high-carb diet that supposedly we did in the 90s with the food guide pyramid. And the idea is that, well, we've tried that experiment and it did not work, so why are we trying it again? That is a very valid point, and I will explain my point of view. But first, hi, I'm Dr. Sarah Zaldivar. I was featured, ironically, on the first ever carnivore documentary called Reverse TV series. I also lost and maintained 35 pounds, although now it's more. I need to redo the math because I've lost even more weight and added muscle since reintroducing carbohydrates. So I'll do the math at some point and update this data. And a major player in how I was able to lose the weight and maintain it is by dropping my body weight set point, as I explained in this YouTube video. I've also quit my nutrition and exercise physiology professor jobs at the University of Miami, the American College of Sports Medicine, and so many other places, so I could focus on research and helping the thousands of clients that I have coached towards better health and fitness. All right, so did we actually do the low-fat, high-carb experiment in the 90s, and did it fail? I would say somewhat, because that was only part of the answer. You see, when I reintroduced carbs, I didn't just add all the carbs without any regard for how many grams of carbs I was eating, without any regard for my insulin sensitivity level and all that stuff. What I did is I actually used the carbohydrates as a pre-workout, so I timed it before and after my workouts so that I would get even better progress in the gym. And it worked. I was recovering faster from my workouts, I added more muscle, and every pound of muscle that you add on your frame increases your ability to handle carbs easily and thrive while eating more carbs by around a minimum of 15 to 25 grams of carbohydrates per day. That's 1 to 2 slices of bread or 1 to 2 servings of fruit. But as you get fitter and fitter, meaning as you can lift more weights and as you can run faster, that same pound of muscle can actually handle even more carbs because it sucks all the carbs you're eating, takes it up from your blood, stores it as glycogen. And so it's actually way more than just 25 grams of carbohydrate that you can handle. And getting the dosage right is critically important. And so monitoring your fasted blood glucose levels, but also all day long your blood sugar levels, especially after meals, is really important so that you can find out what is your tolerance level for carbohydrates right now and how it can improve as you add more and more muscle. The goal is to maintain a low fasted blood glucose level that remains stable throughout the whole day, so that when you do eat carbs, your blood sugar doesn't really go up that much and for an extended period of time. You want to maintain a really good stable blood glucose level that is on the lower end of the spectrum. So somewhere around 85 milligrams per deciliter seems to be a great spot to shoot for. This is especially important for folks who have been doing strict zero carb or keto or carnivore diets for an extended period of time, and they've started to notice the long-term negative effects of those kinds of diets. If you start having cortisol going higher, your fasted blood glucose going up, or just your daily blood glucose trending upward, that is a sign that you are ready to reintroduce carbohydrates smartly. By doing that, you're gonna notice that you're now creating way more dopamine, way more serotonin and acetylcholine, and all of those very important brain chemicals that regulate your motivation, your energy, your mood. And that's because they require an insulin spike to be created in your brain. For example, the precursor for dopamine is tyrosine, the amino acid tyrosine. It cannot really cross into your brain without enough insulin spikes. So this does not mean that if you're not eating any carbs, you're not creating any dopamine, but the difference between what amount of dopamine you can create when you're not really eating carbs versus when you are is so vast that it is so critical that you know about this stuff so you can make your own informed decision about where you want to take your brain and your body and your health and your fitness. Not only will adding carbohydrates increase instantly your baseline dopamine and serotonin and acetylcholine and norepinephrine activity in your brain, so you have a brain that is happier, more energetic, and has no cravings, but also adding more carbs is going to allow you to push even harder in the gym, and that's really important because that's what's going to drop your body weight set point. Also, carbohydrates not only increase your baseline dopamine and drop your body weight set point, they also lower baseline cortisol levels so that you're not constantly living in survival mode. Ketosis is fantastic. It has its certain uses that we use for specific conditions for a certain period of time, but if you have to stick to a ketogenic or a carnivore diet for an extended period of time, it's a good idea to keep an eye on cortisol levels so that you see if it's trending upwards, if it is time for you to progress to a better, healthier, and far more powerful route for real health and fitness and performance. And as if that's not enough, adding carbohydrates allows you to push even harder in the gym, which is the single most important, most powerful thing you can do to heal your gut and seal leaky gut, even as you age. If you stay keto or carnivore forever, as you age, leaky gut is going to start happening as a consequence of the aging process. However, with a robust enough fitness program that can outpace the rate of aging, you can prevent that from happening and not ever really have to suffer the leaky gut and the insulin resistance that occur as part of the aging process. Carbs will also allow you to speed up the metabolism above and beyond what keto or carnivore diets can do. So keto or carnivore can speed up your metabolism by around 300 calories per day, but if you do introduce carbs, you will notice how much easier it's going to be for you to progress with your fitness level, put on more muscle, and that has the potential to increase your metabolism by thousands of calories more. So it's not even a fair comparison between the two. Also, keto and carnivore diets can be used in cases of prevention of cancer or as an adjunct for cancer treatment because they can boost mitochondria. However, with exercise, you can go way more with mitochondrial density, and so you can actually increase the quality and quantity and the efficiency of your mitochondria above and beyond what keto and carnivore can allow you to do. So if this sounds like something you might be interested in exploring further, check out my coaching packages at drsarahzoliver.com/coaching. I will see you personally one-on-one, and I have different tiers. I highly recommend you check out the ones that have unlimited email support because that's going to be very helpful, especially in the beginning as you learn this new lifestyle, which is so vastly different than keto or carnivore. And you can use code YouTube to get 50% off all of my coaching packages for the next 48 hours. And if you want to stay connected and be updated on all of my research, make sure you sign up to my newsletter at drsarahzoliver.com/newsletter. And if you liked this type of content and you want me to film similar content on this topic, make sure you give this YouTube video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.